"What?" said Harry blankly. "He left," said Mr. Fig, wringing her hands, glad to see someone about the bench of clown trunks that fell off the back of a broom. "I told him I would fly a leaf if he went. And now look, Dementors. It's just lucky I put Mr. Tibbies on the case, but we haven't got time to stand around. Harry, now we have got to get you back on the trouble this is going to cost. I will kill him." But the revelation that with Betty, old cat obsessed neighbor, know what Dementors were was almost a big shock to Harry, as meeting two of them down the alley. You are a witch. I'm as cube as Mondonga's know full well. So how on the earth was I supposed to help you fight off Dementors? He left you completely without cover when I warned him. This bloke, Mondonga's, who has been following me, and go, it was him. He disappeared from the front of the house. Yes, yes, yes. But luckily I would stay on Mr. Tibbies under a car just in case, and Mr. Tibbies came and warned me. But by the time I got to your house, you would gone, and now, oh, what Dumbledore going to say? You, Shaggy and Dudley, still supplied on the alley floor. Get your fat bottom on the ground quick. You know Dumbledore, said Harry, staring at her. Of course I know Dumbledore. Who doesn't know Dumbledore? But come on. I will be no help if they come back. I have never so much as transfigured a tea-bag. She stopped down, sized on the Dudley, massive arms in her fizzy hands, and tugged. Get up, you useless lamb, get up. But Dudley either could not or would not move. He was still on the ground, trembling and ashen face, his mouth shut very tight. I will do it. Harry took hold of Dudley's arm and held it. With an enormous effort he managed to hoist Dudley to his hip. Dudley seemed to be on the point of fainting. His small eyes were rolling in their sockets, and sweat was beating his face. The moment Harry let go of him, he stayed dangerously. "Hurry up," said Mrs. Fig hysterically. Harry pulled one of Dudley's massive arms around his own shoulders and dragged him towards the road, sagging slightly under his weight. Mrs. Fig tottered along in front of them, peering anxiously around the corner. "Keep you won't you out," she told Harry, as they entered Wisteria Walk. "Never mind the study of security now. There is going to be hell to pay anyway. We might as well be handed for a druggers as an egg. Talk about the reasonable restriction of underage socciery. This way, actually what Dumbledore was afraid of. What is that at the end of the street? Oh, it's just a Mr. Prejudice. Don't put your wand away, boy. Don't I keep telling you I'm not use." It was not easy to hold a hand steady and carry Dudley along at the same time. Harry gave his cousin an impatient dig in the ribs, but Dudley seemed to have lost all desire for interrupted movement. He was slumped on Harry's shoulder, his large feet dragging along the ground. "Why didn't you tell me you are a cube?" Harry asked Mrs. Fig, panting with the effort to keep walking. "All those time I kept around your house, why didn't you say anything? Dumbledore ordered I was to keep an eye on you, but not say anything. You were too young. I'm sorry I gave you such a miserable time, but the Dursley would never have let you come if they would thought you enjoyed it. It wasn't easy, you know." "But oh my word," she said, tragically wringing her hands once more. "When Dumbledore hears about this, how could Mondongos have left? She was supposed to be on duty until midnight. Where is he? Now, how I am going to tell Dumbledore what has happened? I can't appear it. I have got an owl you can borrow here." Harry grunted, wondering whether his spine was going to snap under Dudley's weight. "Harry, you don't understand. Dumbledore will need to act as quickly as possible. The Ministry have their own ways of detecting underage magic. They will know already, mark my word." "But what's getting rid of Dementors? I had to use magic. They are going to be more worried what Dementors were doing floating around Wisteria Walk, surely." "Oh my dear, I wish it were so bad. I'm afraid." Mongoose flathered, "I am going to kill you." There was a loud crack and strong smell of mangled drink and stale tobacco filled the air as Skewered, unshaved man in a Teteria overcoat materialized right in front of them. He had short, badly long, straight ginger hair and bloodshot, baggy eyes that gave him the doleful look of a basset fawn. He was also clutching a silvery bundle that Harry recognized at once as invisibly cloak. "Sharp figure," he said, straying from Mrs. Fig to Harry and Dudley. "What a period to staying under cover." "A pack of owls I will give you under cover," cried Mrs. Fig. "Dementors, you useless, squealing sneak thief. Dementors, he parried Mongongos. Actually, Dementors here. Yes, here. You worthless pile of bad dropping here, shiked Mr. Fig. The mentor's acting the boy of you watch. Believe me, said McDonald's, weakly looking from Mrs. Fig to Harry and back again. Believe me, I and you of buying stolen clothes. Didn't I tell you not to go? Didn't I? McDonald's looked deeply uncomfortable. Was a very good business opportunity, see? Mrs. Fig raised the arm from which her stringy back Douglas and washed McDonald's around the face and neck with it. Judging by the clacking noise it made, it was full of cat food. Ouch! Gareth, you meant old Pat. Someone's gonna tell Dumbledore. Yes, they have, yelled Mrs. Fig, still smoothing the back of Cat and every bit on Dumbledore's she could reach. And it had better be you, and you can tell him why you weren't there to help. Keep your errand on, said Montgomery, his arm over his head, covering. I'm going, and with another loud crack he vanished. I hope Dumbledore murders him, said Mrs. Fig furiously. Now come on, Harry, what are you waiting for? Harry decided not to waste his remaining breath on pointing out that he could barely walk under Dudley's bulk. He gave the semi-cautious Dudley a hand and staggered onward. I will take you to the door, said Mrs. Fig, and Caesar turned it into a private drive, just in case there were more of them around. All my world was catastrophe, and you had to fight them off yourself. And Dumbledore said we were to keep you from doing magic at all costs. Well, it is not crying over Spiller Point, I suppose, but cats among the fixes now. So, Harry panted Dumbledore been having me following? Of course he has, said Mrs. Fig impatiently. Did you expect him to let you wander around your oven after what happened in June? Good Lord, boy, they told me you weren't intelligent. Right, get inside and stay there, she said as they researched number 4. I expect someone will be in touch with you soon enough. What are you going to do? Asked Harry quickly. I am going straight home, said Mrs. Fig, staring around the dark street and shuddering. I will need to wait for more instruction and just stay in the house. Good night. Hang on, don't go yet. I want to know. But Mrs. Fig had already set off at a trot, carpet slipper, flopping, strip, and clacking. Wait, Harry shouted after her. He had a million questions to ask and know who was in contact with Dumbledore. But within a second, Mr. Fig was swallowed by the darkness. Scowling, Harry reduced Dudley on his shoulder and made his love. Painful was up number 4 garden pass. The fall light was on. Harry stuck his hand back inside the waist bag on his jeans, rang the bell, and watched an patient outlet grow largest and largest, oddly discorded by the reptilian glass in the front door. Diddy, about time too. I was getting cute. Diddy, what is the matter? Harry looked sideways at Dudley and dug it out from under his arm just in time. Dudley shivered from a moment on the spot, his face pale green, then he opened his mouth at last and ornament all over the doormat. Diddy, what's the matter with you, Vernon? Harry's uncle came galumphing out of the living room, walrus mistake blowing wizard and sailor as it always did when he was agitated. He hurried forward to help Aunt Petunia negotiate a weak-kneed Dudley over the threshold while awaiting stepping in the pool of sick. He is ill, Vernon. What is it, son? What has happened? Did Mrs. Pockles give you something for tea? Why are you all covered in dirt, darling? Have you been lying on the ground? Hang on, you haven't been mugged, have you, son? Aunt Petunia screamed. Phone the police, Vernon. Phone the police. Diddy, darling, speak to Mommy. What did they do to you? In all so carefully, nobody seemed to have noticed Harry, which suited him perfectly. He managed to slip inside just before Uncle Vernon slammed the door, and while the Dursley made their noise progress down the hall towards the kitchen. Harry moved carefully and quietly towards the stairs. Who did it, son? Give us names. I will get them, but don't worry. Shh, she's trying to say something, Vernon. What did it? Tell Mommy. Harry's foot was on the bottom stairs when Dudley found him. Harry froze. Foot on the stairs, face screamed up. Break it for the explosion. Boy, come here. With a feeling of mingled dread and anger, Harry removed his foot slowly from the stair and turned to follow the Dursley. The scrupulously clean kitchen had an oddly unreal glitter after the darkness outside. Aunt Petunia was ushering Dudley into a chair. He was still very green and clammy looking. Uncle Vernon was standing in front of the draining board, glaring at Harry so narrowed eyes. "What have you done to my son?" he said in menacing growl. "Nothing," said Harry, knowing perfectly well that Uncle Vernon would believe him. "What did he do to you, Diddy?" Aunt Petunia said in a quivering voice, now spawning sick from the front of Dudley's leather jacket. "Was it, you know what, darling? Did he use his sing?" Slowly, tremulously, Dudley nodded. "I didn't," Harry said sharply as Aunt Petunia let out a wail and Uncle Vernon raised him first. "I didn't do anything to him. It wasn't me. I was, but..." At the present moment a screech almost spooned itself hit chicken window, narrowly missing the top of Uncle Vernon's head. It soared across the kitchen, dropped the large parchment envelope it was carrying in its big hairy feet, and turned gracefully the tips of its wings just brushing the top of the fridge, then zoomed outside again and off across the garden. "Owls!" bellowed Uncle Vernon, the well-worn vein in his temple pulsing angrily as we slammed the kitchen window shut. "Owls again! I will not have any more owls in my house." But Harry was already ripping open the envelope and pulling out the letter inside, his heart pounding somewhere in the region of the Adam's apple. "Dear Mr. Potter, we have received intelligence that you performed the Prince's charm at 23 minutes past 9 this evening in a Muggle-inhabited area in the presence of Muggle. The severity of this breach of the tree for the reasonably restriction of Andrei's sobriety has resulted in your expulsion from Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry Ministry. A representation will be calling at your place of residence surely to destroy your wand, as you have already received an official warning for prevention offense under Section 13 of the International Confederation of Wizards Statute of Secrecy. We regret to inform you that your presence is recused and disciplinary hearing in the Ministry of Magic at 9 a.m. on August 12th. Hoping you are well. Your sincerely implore use on Magic Office, Ministry of Magic. Harry read the letter through twice. He was only vaguely aware of Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia talking in the vacuity inside his head. All was crying and numb. One fact had penetrated his consciousness like a paralyzing dart. He was expelled from Hogwarts. It was all over. He had never going back. He looked up at Dudley's. Uncle Vernon was purple-faced, shooting his first still raised. Aunt Petunia had her arm around Dudley, who was reaching again. Harry temporarily stopped. Brain seemed to reveal. Minister, respect the station will be calling at your place of residence shortly to destroy your wand. There was only one thing for it. We would have to run of the one thing at Hogwarts or outside it. He kneaded his hand in an almost dreamlike state. He pulled his hand out and turned. "Where do you think you are going?" yelled Uncle Vernon. When Harry didn't reply, he pounded across the kitchen to block the doorway into the hall. "I haven't finished it with you, boy. Get out of the way," said Harry quietly. "You are going to stay here and explain how my son. If you don't get out of the way, I am going to silence you," said Harry, raising the hand. "You can't pull one of them on me," shouted Uncle Vernon. "I know you are not allowed to use it outside that madhouse you call a school." "The madhouse has cocked me," said Harry, "so I can do wherever I like. You have got 3 seconds. 1, 2. Eric was using crack file in the kitchen. Aunt Petunia screamed. Uncle Vernon yelled and dug but for the sixth time that morning Harry was staring for the source of a disgrace he had not met. He spotted in at once a decayed and roofless-looking barn owl was sitting outside of the kitchen, still having just collided with the closet window. Ignoring Uncle Vernon and guilty yell of owls, Harry crossed the room at a run and arranged the window open again. The owl stuck out its tail leg, to which a small roll of parchment was tied, shook its feather, and took off the moment Harry had pulled off the letters and shrugging. Harry unfolded the second manuscript with writing very fastly and blotting in black ink. "Harry, Dumbledore just arrived at the ministry, and he is trying to sort it all out. Do not leave your aunt and uncle's house. Do not do any more magic. Do not surrender your hand." Dumbledore was trying to sort it all out. What did that mean? How much power did Dumbledore have to override the Ministry of Magic? Was there a chance that they might be allowed back to Hogwarts then? A small shot of how Bargain in Harry's shirt almost immediately struggled by panic. How was supposed to refuse to surrender his hand without doing magic? He would have to duels with the Ministry respectations, and if he did that, he would be lucky to escape Azkaban, let alone expulsion. His mind was racing. He could run for it and risk being captured by the Ministry, or stay put and wait for them to find him here. He was much more tempered by format curse, but he knows that Mr. Weasley had his best interest at heart, and after all, Dudley Door has sorted out much worse than this before. Right, Harry said, I have shined by my mind. I'm staying. He flung himself down at the kitchen table and faced Dudley and Aunt Petunia. The Dudleys appeared taken back, and his abrupt change of mind. Aunt Petunia gazed desperately at Uncle Vernon. The rain in Uncle Vernon's purple temple was throbbing worse than ever. Who are all the rabbi owl from? He glowed. The first one was from Ministry of Magic, smelling me, said Harry calmly. He was staying his ears to catch noises outside in case the Ministry respectives were approaching, and it was easy and quick to answer Uncle Vernon's questions and to have him start raining and blowing. The second one was from the Free Throne he works in Ministry of Magic, below Uncle Vernon. People like you in government. Oh, this explains everything. No one in the country is going to the dogs. When Harry did not respond, Uncle Vernon glared at him then spot. And why have you been explaining? Because I did magic. Roared Uncle Vernon, slamming his fist down on the top of the fridge, which sprang open. Several of Dudley's loaf-fed snack top bled out and brought up the floor. So you admire it. What did you do to Dudley? Nothing, said Harry gently, less calmly. That wasn't me. Was? Mattered Dudley unexplainedly, and Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia instantly made flapping gestures at Harry to cue him while they both bent low over Dudley. Go on, son, said Uncle. What did he do to us, darling? Whispered Aunt Petunia, pointed at his wand at me. Dudley mumbled. Here I did, but I didn't use. Harry began angrily, but shut up, roared Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia in unison. Go on, son, repeated Uncle Vernon, mustache glowing about furiously. All dark, Dudley said, furiously, shuddering, everything dark, and then I had heard sing inside my head. Uncle Vernon and Aunt Petunia, excited look of utter horror in their last favorite thing in the world was magic, closely followed by the neighbor who cheated more than they did on the Horsepit band. People who hear a voice were definitely in the bottom 10. They obviously so Dudley was losing his mind. What sort of thing did you hear? Poking, breathing Aunt Petunia, very white-faced and with tears in her eyes. But Dudley seemed in spirit of saying. He shuddered again and shook his large blue head and described the sense of numb dread that had seated on Harry's since the arrival of the first owl. He felt a curtain curiously Dementors caused a person to relive the worst moments of their life. What would spoiled, pampered, boiling Dudley have been forced to hear? Have come full hell over some, said Uncle Vernon in a not really cute voice, the kind of voice he would adopt at the bedside of a very ill person. Tripping, said Dudley shortly, and then he gestured and his massive cheek. Harry understood Dudley was remembering the clammy cold that filled the lung as hope and happiness were sucked out of you. Horrible, croaked Dudley. Cold, really cold. Okay, said Uncle Vernon in a voice of forced calm, while Aunt Petunia leaned an anxious hand on Dudley's forehead to feel his temperature. What happened then? Dudley felt if as feel as if you would never be happy again. Harry supplied tonelessly. Yes, Dudley whispered, still trembling. So said Uncle Vernon, voice responding to full and considerable volume as he straightened up. So you put some crackpot spell on my son so he would hear a voice and believe he was doomed to misery or something, did you? How many times do I have to tell you? Said Harry, tempered and the voice rising together. It wasn't me. It was a couple of Dementors. A couple of... What is this Cotswold. The mentors, said Harry slowly and clearly, two of them. And what the rabbi hell are the mentors? They cured the wizard prison Azkaban, said Aunt Petunia. 2 seconds ringing silence following these words, and then Aunt Petunia clamped her hands over her mouth and thought she had let slip a disgusting swear word. Uncle Vernon was goggling at her. Harry's brain reeled. Mrs. Fig was one thing, but Aunt Petunia? What do you know that? He asked her, astonished. Aunt Petunia looked cute, appalled with herself. She glanced at Uncle Vernon in tearful apology, then lowered her hand slightly to reveal her horse's teeth. I heard that awful boy telling her about them years ago, she said jerkily. If you mean my mom and my dad, why don't you use their names? Said Harry loudly, but Aunt Petunia ignored him. She seemed horribly frustrated. Harry was stopped, escaped for one outburst year ago in the course of which Aunt Petunia had screamed that Harry's mother had been a freak. He had never heard her mention her sister. He was astounded that she was remembered this scarf of information about medical war for so long, when she usually put all her energies into protecting it didn't exist. Uncle Vernon opened his mouth, closed it again, opened it once more. Shut up, then apparently struggling to remember how to talk, opened it for a third time and closed it. So, they actually exist. They are demently whatsies. Aunt Petunia nodded. Uncle Vernon looked from Aunt Petunia to Dudley to Harry as he hoping somebody was going to shout April Fool. When nobody did, he had opened his mouth yet again, but was scattered the struggle to find more words by the arrival of the sides or oval of the evening, which zoomed through the still open window like a usury cannonball and landed with a clatter of the kitchen table, causing all three of the Dudleys to jump with fright. Harry tore a second optical look at valor from the oval's break and repeated it open as the oval swooped back out into the night. Enough effing ovals, muttered Uncle Vernon distractedly, stopping over to the window and slamming it shut again. Dear Mr. Potter, further to our letter of experimentally 22 minutes ago, the Ministry of Magic has received its decision to destroy your hand. For them, you may retain your hand until your discrepanality heard on 12th August, at which time an official decision will be taken. Following discussion with the headmaster of Hogwarts School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, the minister has agreed that the question of your expulsion will also be decided at the time. You should therefore consider yourself suspended from school pending further inquiries. With the best wishes, your signory import use of magic office, Ministry of Magic. Harry read these letters through 3 times in quickly succession. The miserable knot in his chest loosened slightly as the thought that he was not definitely expelled. Thought his fears were by no means binged. Everything seemed to hang on his hearing on the 12th of August. Well, said Uncle Vernon, relocating Harry to his surrounding. What now? Have they sentenced you to do anything? Do your Lord have they definitely? He added as hotly after so. I have got to go to a hearing, said Harry, and they will sentence you, sir? I suppose so. I won't give up hope, then, said Uncle Vernon mentally. Well, if that is all, said Harry, getting to his feet. He was desperate to be alone, to think, perhaps to send a letter to Ron, Hermione, or Sirius. No, it's ready well, is not all. Beloved Uncle Vernon, sit back down. What now? Said Harry impatiently. Dudley roared at Uncle Vernon. I want to know exactly what happened to my son. Fine, yelled Harry, and in his temple red and gold sparks shot out of the end of his hand, still clutched in his hand of 3 Dursley, flinching, looking terrified. Dudley and I were in the alleyway between Magnolia Crescent and Wisteria Walk, said Harry, speaking fast, frightened to control his temper. Dudley thought he would be smart with me. I pulled out my wand, but didn't use it. Then 2 Dementors turned on. But what are Dementors? Asked Uncle Vernon resolutely. What do they do? I told you. They suck all the happiness out of you, said Harry, and if they get the chance, they kiss you. Kiss you, said Uncle Vernon, his eyes popping sleepily. Kiss you? It is what they call it the one that sucks the soul of your mouth. Aunt Petunia uttered a soft scream. His soul? They didn't take. He still got his. She seized Dudley by the shoulders and shook him, as though testing to see whether she could hear his soul rattling around inside him. Of course they didn't get his soul. You would know if they had, said Harry, expirated. Foe, off, did you soon? Said Uncle Vernon loudly, with the appearance of a man struggling to bring the conversation back onto a plane he understood. Gave the old one too, did you? You can give a Demeter's the old one too, said Harry through clenched teeth. Why is he all right then? Blustered Uncle Vernon. Why isn't he all empty then? Because I use it as a Patronus, whose with clearing his ring of wings and a soft wall of dust, a first owl came shooting out of the kitchen fireplace. For goodn's sake, roared Uncle Vernon, pulling great clumps of hair out of his message. Sometimes he hadn't been driven to in a long time. I will not have owls here. I will not tolerate this, I tell you. But Harry was already pulled a roll of prominence from the owl's leg. He has so convinced that his letter had to be from Dumbledore, explaining everything to the mentors. Mrs. Fig, what the ministry was up to, how the mentor intended to sort everything out. That for the first time in his life he was disappointed to see serious handwriting, ignoring Uncle Vernon's annoying rant about owls and narrowing his eyes against a second cloud of dust at the most recent owl took of the bag, and seemingly Harry read Sirius' message. Although just told us what's happened. Don't leave the house again, wherever you do. Harry found his such an inadequate response to everything that had happened tonight that he turned the piece of purchase over, looking for the rest of the letters, but there was nothing here, and now his temperature was freezing again. Wasn't it anybody going to say, well done for fighting off to the matter single-handedly? Both Mr. Weasley and Sirius were acting as thought he would misbehave, and they were saving their telling off until they could scream how much damage had been done. A pack of owls shooting in and out of my house, and I won't have it, boy, I won't. I can't stop the owls coming. Harry shaped, crushing Sirius' letter in his fingers. I want the truth about what happened tonight, barked Uncle Vernon. It was the mentors who hired Dudley. How come you have been exploited? Did you know what? You have admired it? Harry took a deep, spinning breath. His hand was beginning to itch again. He wanted more than anything to get out of the kitchen, away from the Dursley. I did the Patronus charm to get rid of the Dementors, he said, forcing himself to remain calm. It is the only thing that worked against them. But what were the Mentors doing in Little Winging? Said Uncle Vernon in tones of outrage. Couldn't tell you, said Harry, wearing no idea. His head was pounding in the glare of the street lighting now. His anger was a bit away. He left drained, exhausted. The Dudleys were all staring at him. It is you, said Uncle Vernon forcefully. It is got something to do with you, boy. I know it. Why else would they turn up here? Why else would they do down that alleyway? You have got to be the only. Evidently, he couldn't bring himself to say the word wizard. The only for Mills. I don't know what they were here, but at those words of Uncle Vernon, Harry's excuses bring ground back into action. Why had the Dementors come to the Little Winking? How could it be coincidence that they had arrived in the alleyway where Harry was? Would have been sent. Had the Ministry of Magic lost control of the Dementors? Had they deserted Azkaban and joined Voldemort as Dumbledore had predicted they would? These Dementors carried some weird-out prison, said Uncle Vernon, lumbering in the wake of Harry's train of thought. Yes, said Harry, if only his head would stop hurting, if only he could just leave the kitchen and get to his dark bedroom and think. Oh, they were coming to arrest you, said Uncle Vernon with the terrified air of man reaching and embracing considered. It isn't a boy, you are on the run from the law. Of course I'm not, said Harry snaking his head as though to scare off a fly, his mind racing now. Then why? He must have sent them, said Harry, acutely more to himself than to Uncle Vernon. What said? Who must have sent them? Lord Voldemort, said Harry. He regressed dimly, half straight. It wasn't Dudley's who flinched, winced, and scurried if they heard words like wizard magic, or one could hear the name of the most evil wizard of all time without the slightest tremor. Lord, hang on, said Uncle Vernon, his face screamed up, a look of dying confusion in his big eyes. If I have heard that name, that was the one who murdered my parents, yes, Harry said. But he's gone, said Uncle Vernon impatiently, without the slightest sign then the murder of Harry's parents might be a painful topic to anybody. That Gian Bullock said so. He is gone. He is back, said Harry heavily. It felt very strange to be standing here in Aunt Petunia, certainly clear kitchen beside the top of the rank fridge and the widescreen televisor, and talking calmly of Lord Voldemort to Uncle Vernon. The arrival of the Dementors in Little Winging seemed to have caused a breach in the great invisible walls that divided the relentlessly non-magical world of private drive, and then world beyond Harry's two lives had somehow become fused and upside down. The Dursley were asking for details about the magical world, and Mrs. Fig now. Albus Dumbledore, the mentors were sorting around Little Wingen, and he might never go back to Hogwarts. Harry's head throbbed more painful. Back, whispered Aunt Petunia. She was looking at Harry, and she had never looked at him before, and all of a sudden, for the very first time in his life, Harry full appreciated that Aunt Petunia was his mother's sister. He could not have said why this him so very powerfully at this moment, and he knew was that he was not the only person in the room who had an inkling of the Lord Voldemort being back. Might mean Aunt Petunia had never in her life looked at him like that before. Her large pale eyes saw Uncle her sister were not narrowed in dislike or angers. They were wide and fearful. The Frisian presenters that Aunt Petunia had maintained a Harry life than they were was not magic, and no world other trained in Harry's lines that was no magic and no world other than the world she inhabited. With Uncle Vernon screamed how to fall away. Yes, Harry said, talking directly to Aunt Petunia. Now he came back a month ago and I saw him. His Dudley has found Dudley's massive leather-collared shoulders and coated them. Hang out, said Uncle Vernon, looking from his wife to Harry and back again, apparently dazed and confused by the unprecedented distracting the second to have sprung up between them. Hang out, his lord, waltzing back, you say? Yes, the one who murdered your parent, yes, and now he is standing dismembered after you. Look like it, said Harry. I see, said Uncle Vernon, looking from white-faced wife to Harry and fishing up his trousers. He seemed to be swilling his great purplish face, stretching before Harry's eyes. Well, that settles it, he said, his shirt from straining as he inflated himself. You can get out of his house, boy. What, said Harry? You heard me out. Uncle Vernon belonged, and Evan, Aunt Petunia, and Dudley jumped out. I should have done it years ago, always treating the place like a rest home, putting exploring falls in a large, destroyed Dudley's tail market, booting around the Hailing, remember my last Petunia. Aunt Petunia looked as though she might fade. She sank into the chair beside Dudley, her face in her hands. The remains of the envelope smoldered into ash in the silence. What is this? Uncle Vernon said hoarsely. What, I don't, Petunia? Aunt Petunia said nothing. Dudley was staring stupidly at his mother, his mouth hanging open, the silence spiraled horribly. Harry was watching his aunt utterly bewildered, his heart probably think fit to burst. Petunia, dear, said Uncle Vernon timidly. Petunia, she received her hand. She was still trembling. She swallowed the boy. The boy will have to stay, Vernon, she said weakly. What? He said stays. She said she was not looking at Harry. She got to her feet again. He put Petunia. If we throw him out, the neighbor will talk. She said she was regretting her usual brisk, snappish, mere reply, so she was still very pale. They will ask awkward questions. They will want to know where he's gone. We will have to keep him. Uncle Vernon was deflating like an old tire. But Petunia, dear, Aunt Petunia ignored him. She turned to Harry. You are You are to stay in your room. She said you are not to leave the house. Now get to bed. Harry didn't move. Who was that hallways from? Don't ask questions, Aunt Petunia snapped. Are you in touch with wizards? I told you to get to bed. What did it mean? Remember the last what? Go to bed. Have come? You heard your aunt. Now get to bed.